Hi Moo Memes and welcome to this tag video. This is a tag by Simon from the Hermit's Cave, who I love watching all of his videos, all of his collection. Like, wow, his collection is immense. And this is the What We Reach For tag. So when I was watching his video, I watch him on Sunday morning, I was like, oh, I really want to do this tag. Like, it really spoke to me. So stick around for the What We Reach For tag. So the first tag is, what tarot decks are you reaching for the most right now? And I don't think this will come as any surprise because I did a walkthrough on this. It's my Bone, Stone and Earth Flesh Tarot by Avalon Cameron and Anna Torian. I have been using this and gravitating towards this at the moment. It was a new purchase over the Christmas period, and I just love the artwork. So I've been doing my daily pulls with this, and it's absolutely fantastic. I have been pulling 3 cards every day, but I feel like I'm getting a bit of overwhelm with that, so I might just reduce it to like 1 card, and that'll give me enough time to kind of, you know, dig deep into it. I am tempted to keep this on as like a deck study type exercise where I look through and kind of note down everything about the cards and go through the guidebook and do that. But I sometimes struggle with, you know, reading the guidebooks. I want to pick it up and use my intuition and read the image myself and everything like that. So yeah, so I've been reaching for the Bone, Stone and Earth Flesh Tarot. It's amazing. I do love it. I mean, I love that it's a female representation of the Hierophant here, which is, this is my card of the year, the Hierophant. I love that devil. That's amazing. Yeah, it's just a solid deck. I love the artwork. I bought it for the artwork. That is the tag, but this is not the one I've picked. But yeah, so this is the Bone, Stone and Earth Flesh Tarot, and there is a full walkthrough on my channel. The next tag is a deck that feels like an old friend to you. Now, I couldn't decide really, so I've got kind of an old one and a newish one, if that makes sense. So I've got a really, really old friend, and I've got a one where when I rediscovered my love for tarot, it's kind of my staple deck, if you can guess in the comments. But the first one, this deck is an old friend to me because this is my first deck that I ever bought. And I have got no idea what this deck actually is. I bought it. I think I bought it from the Works. If you're in the UK, you kind of, a lot of you would know what the Works is, and they quite often do spirituality, like books and things and everything. And I bought it, I think, with the Works. I think the book is Tarot for Love and Relationships, that I've got with it. And interestingly enough, as you can see, this is a pip deck. Now, for me, I always, you know, I teach tarot, and I always say first thing to do is not get a pip deck, because it's harder to, you know, learn the cards, learn the meaning, learn everything. I would always suggest going for a Rider-Waite-Smith, and I really struggled with this. So I was doing readings for myself, I was using the guidebook, I was doing readings for other people, I was using the guidebook, and I didn't really know anything about the Rider-Waite-Smith. So you can see it's this kind of, I do love that death card. It's giving me very kind of 70s, 80s vibes. So I must have bought this in the mid 2000, because so it must have been 2006 I bought this. And I've got no clue, but he's an old friend. As you can see, he's very well used, very well loved. And I then discovered that you can get like a Rider-Waite Smith. I got a Rider-Waite Smith, but actually I bought a A4 version of the Rider-Waite Smith. It's very strange. I wanted bigger cards because these are quite small. They're good size. I actually love these for a shuffle. They're just about the right size now for me. But I was like, oh, I want bigger cards or bigger images so I can study them. And I accidentally bought an A4 Rider-Waite Smith, which is still I've still got it in my collection. Yeah, so as you can see, it's harder to read off. And interestingly enough, I think the guidebook, like, I love how cartoony is that devil, like, yeah. Interestingly enough, I think the book that came with it has it has the Rider-Waite Smith pictures as opposed to, you know, the symbols. So you know, not everybody should publish tarot books that are kind of friendly for beginners, but I didn't know anything, and I spent years believing that myth that you can't buy your own tarot deck, and I never bought one until I just went, right, I'm gonna get one. And I think I was I don't think I was with my hubby then. I think I bought this just before we met. And I just thought, nobody's going to buy it me, so I'll buy it myself. And he's bought me, you know, quite a few decks now. But yeah, so this is 19 years old, this deck. So it is an old friend. He's, you know, battered, he's bowed, you know what I mean, the bowing in there from the way I used to have a red ribbon that I would tie it with it, and it's like bent the cards a little bit. You know, it's got signs of wear, but I wouldn't replace him. I name a lot of my tarot decks. So a lot of my tarot decks that are much loved tarot decks usually acquire names. So this is Bob. So whenever I say Bob, I have to say it like Blackadder Bob, like that. Like so I named him Bob. But that's just my strange little quirk of having, you know, named tarot decks, giving them personalities and things like that. But yeah, this is Bob. I have to say it in a Rowan Atkinson style Blackadder way, because there was a character who was a woman dressed as a man, and he was called Bob, and he would say that. I'm rambling now, but yeah, if we remember Blackadder, put it in the comments, you know, if we remember, or if you can tell me what this deck is, because I would love to know. Or what it's based on, because it's obviously an imitation copy, because it didn't cost very much. It's an imitation of somebody's artwork, but it's a mystery. So yeah, this is Bob, my old friend. I do like the images that are there. I would just love, you know, and I do read with him. Occasionally. Occasionally when I'm feeling nostalgic, I will read with this deck. Now, the second one I'm only going to show briefly because I've shown this so many times on my channel, but my new friend is my Tarot of the Abyss. This is just my staple. This is my comfort. This is my, you know, when I need help, assistance, guidance, and I'm not feeling it with other decks, I will go straight to Abbey. So this one is called Abbey, as in Tower of the Abyss. And yes, so I started naming the tarot decks, and then I quickly gathered quite a few tarot decks that I've realised that I'm not going to be able to keep up with. This is my favourite lovers card of all time. I'm not going to be able to keep up with naming them there. But yeah, so the Tower of the Abyss is my new best friend, and Bob is my very, very, very old friend, and he's so good because he's just the right size for me to shuffle. But I do love my Tower of the Abyss as well. The next tag is a deck that you purely bought for the artwork. So not really intention of reading, you just bought it for the artwork. And yeah, I'm going to caveat this by saying, although the artwork's quite simplistic, or you could say, oh, you've not really bought it for the artwork, so to speak. A lot of my decks are beautiful, and I love reading with them because they are beautiful. They are pieces of art, and I love reading with them. This deck I bought for the theme of the artwork, and I bought it as a collector, as kind of a collector's piece, because I started using it and then I kind of thought, no, I'm just going to keep hold of it. I'm going to keep it in the box. It's just going to be kind of not brought out, if that makes sense. And I'm going to kind of keep hold of it because it's one of my other special interests. So it aligns with one of my other special interests, because I am, neurospicy. I collect special interests, and I just like to have it, but I don't read with it. So it's the Marvel Tarot. So I've got it. I had it still in the box. It obviously has been used, so it's not in order. But I didn't really bond with this, and the cardstock is quite a bit thicker, so it's a bit of a hard shuffle. I mean, that 10 of coins is amazing, like Tree of Life. But I probably could read better with it now that I have more of a knowledge with the tarot and everything. But I just like it for the marvelness of it. I just like the pictures and some of the characters, like obviously the Moon Knight, quite obvious. Some of the characters I'm a fan of the MCU. I have read the comics. I have read quite a few of the comics, but I'm not an avid comic reader. So some of the characters I don't know like inside out, so I wouldn't feel that I'd be fully able to comment them. Like, this is Black Cat, and I just know she's a thief and things like that. But obviously digging deeper into the character, if I knew the character more, I'd be able to kind of read with it better. And some of the choices I was a bit like, what? Like, with it. So some of the choices I was a bit confused by. But yeah, so I bought this purely for the Marvel artwork, for the theme, for the references. Like, what's that? You would have to be a big fan to be able to, know. I know that that's T'Challa's necklace, but to know what some of these objects is. Obviously, this is the Tesseract, but I can't even remember whether this has got the Mind Stone or the Space Stone or what stone, because my memory's not very good. Like in it. But yeah, so I bought this purely for the Marvel artwork, purely just because it's a Marvel deck, and to just have it in my collection. I know there's a Marvel Oracle as well. I probably do intend on getting that eventually, but when I got this, I was I was slightly disappointed with it because it's just the character. It's not like giving you a lot more. Yeah, you'd have to be a like really like Squirrel Girl. I don't know a lot about Squirrel Girl, but I'm a Marvel fan. You know, I know the cinematic universe a lot more than I do the comic universe. So yeah, it's a bit of a niche one. It's a bit of a niche one. But yeah, so this is a deck that I bought purely for the theming, purely for the artwork. And I mean, that Lovers is lovely. Yeah. Oh, and the Fool. Gotta love Deadpool as the Fool. Yeah, but some of them I'm like, I was questioning. You know, I know we've got like obviously the Phoenix and everything like that, but you could have Hell as well. You know, there was, yeah, love this card because he's my favourite character, Loki. Gotta love a bit of Loki as the devil there. Yeah. Yeah, King of Swords, I was kind of a bit like, ooh, maybe Thor the King of Swords. Like, I would have said Tony Stark is more of a King of Swords, or maybe even Bruce Banner or something like that, because of or even Reed Richards, King of Swords. He's got very much Reed Richards as King of Swords energy, but they've got him as the Emperor. It's they could have put Odin, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I wrestle with some of these choices for the cards, but there is good reason. The reason Thor is the King of Swords is because what's his name? Iron Man, because I thought Iron Man would be a good one for the King of Swords. He's the King of Coins, which, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Billionaire philanthropist. Philanthropist. Can't even say that. Yeah, so this is the Marvel Tarot. And it's a pretty, you know, reasonable mass market deck. It did take me a while, I think, because it came from America, but it's going to stay in my collection. It's going to stay in my collection, but it's going to sit in the box. The next one is a deck that I admire, but I rarely read with, and it's with a heavy heart because I would like to read with this more, but I think as it gets into spring, possibly I will start. Maybe this is in my February deck rotation to try and give it another chance, because this is another one that I've kind of struggled, I've not reached for, and it's the Wildwood Tarot. I mean, it is beautiful. It's beautiful, beautiful artwork. But I think where I struggle with it is because of some of the changes. It is a deck where you have to kind of really look into the guidebook, study the guidebook and everything. And I'm not a girly that likes reading a guidebook. I like kind of going straight in and reading with it. And I have read with it. Like, have to remember arrows are swords. But some of the changes, like, obviously that's quite easy, the moon on the water, the mirror, just thinking about number 12. What's number 12? See, this is where I struggle with this deck. So I admire it so much, but I'm trying to think now, what is Justice is 11? Hanged Man. It's mystifying me, and I don't think I've got the guidebook to hand. In the comments, if you've got the Wildwood and you know which one, I've just completely blanked up my numbers, because I do know, like, I know that the death card is 13. What comes before the death card? Yeah, it's a Hanged Man. It's a Hanged Man. So, yeah, this is confusing. It is a confusing deck. I mean, I love that for the Four of Arrows, for the Four of Swords. I do love that image. And like obviously like the Green Woman for the Empress, it makes sense. Having the animals as well, again, it adds a different layer where I'm kind of scratching my head sometimes. So maybe I do need to spend some more time with this deck, a bit like in my January roundup, I said I was spending more time with my Dreamscapes tarot in the hope that I would grow to love it more and want to use it more. Long story short, I'm probably going to be moving the Dreamscapes on. I don't think I will move this one on because it's got such a good energy in terms of it reads for very specific people. It likes reading male energy, and it's got a very, very specific like pagan feel with it that I really do like it. I don't think I would get rid of it, but I do admire it. I do admire it. It's just getting my head around the system. I think this would be a deck where I would have to do a deck study. So whereas the Earthbone and not Earthbone, sorry, Bone Stone and Earth Flesh, I always get them mixed up. You can read it a bit more intuitively and you don't have to have the guidebook, but the guidebook really, really helps. And it's like the Bone Stone guidebook is huge. Like, you don't have to be a slave to that guidebook. I think with this, you really do need to read the guidebook to understand the beauty of this deck. And it's not so much having the time, because I have got time to read and to do these things. It's just having the inclination to do it. It's having that motivation. Whereas, you know, Bone Stone, the artwork speaks to me a little bit more. I'm more gravitated towards it. But I do love it. I don't think I will be getting rid of it in my collection. I do think it has its place in my collection. And again, they've swapped over, I think they swapped over Strength and Justice as well in there, and because of the changes of the names, again, it really, really confuses me. I remember doing a reading for somebody and having go back to them later on and just clarify because I'd got mixed up. It's not very good for somebody with, you know, who struggles with brain fog, which is what I do. I can't remember what day it is even. But yeah, I love that Sun card. Yeah, so this is the Wildwood Tarot. So a deck that I do admire, but I don't read with very often. Next up is a tarot deck that you used to be unsure about, but now appreciate. Now, I'm going to preference this by, I was unsure about buying this. I spent a whole year dithering about this. I was kind of like, oh, is it too much? Is it too much? And I really, really hesitated, and I should have jumped. I should have bought it last year when, you know, I was kind of rediscovering, well, it's a year and a half ago, when I was rediscovering my love for tarot. And you'll probably be able to guess this because I have said this about it before. And it's the Murder of Crows Tarot. I was unsure about getting this. I was unsure. I kind of went into this like having a look at things like reviews and stuff like that. I bought into people going, it's too dark a deck, it's got really dark energy, it's too shadowy, and I was very wary of it. And then when I kind of started moving more into, you know, more shadowy decks and getting that, you know, hidden side and not being as afraid of it, I picked it up. And I've got to say, this energy is not, I mean, it has got shadow. There's no doubt this has got shadow. But I don't think it's as harsh or direct as some of my other decks that I've got. in terms of the shadow. I just think it reads well. I think it's a little bit like Hecate energy, like it's dark but it's loving. It's gentle but confronting at the same time. I feel it's just got a, I love this. I do love this deck. So I was so unsure about getting this, and I wish I'd have got it sooner. But I'm so pleased I've got it now in my collection. Definitely it is my deck for working with Hecate. I will just reach for this one. And it is that energy of being gentle yet still confronting your shadow and what you need to work on. So yeah, so this is a deck that I was very unsure of, but I've grown to love it. I do love it. And this is the Murder of Crows Tarot by Corrado Roy, because I also have the Joker Tarot, and it was the Joker Tarot that got me into taking the step of getting the Murder of Crows Tarot. And I wouldn't have got the Joker Tarot if it wasn't for Simon at the Hermit's Cave. His reviews on it, his going through it, his videos really kind of sparked me to go, oh yeah, I'm gonna get it. And then I got the Murder of Crows. So yeah, thank you, Simon. Now the next question in the tag is, which deck doesn't get the attention it deserves in your opinion? And I've picked my Raven's Dream Tarot, because there are not a lot of videos, I feel, about this. There's, there are a lot of indie decks around, and things like the Somnia Tarot. A lot of people rave about the Somnia Tarot, and there are a lot of indie decks that I've seen people rave about, multiple videos about, and not just from one person, from multiple people, and they are obviously still indie decks. I don't see as much love for the Raven's Dream, and it's just a stunning deck. I know for us UK people and Europe, it's a bit harder to get and purchase, but I do feel like this is the better deck than the Crow Tarot. Like, if people kind of go, oh, I like MJ Cullinane's work, I'll just get the Crow Tarot. I think her artwork is so like grown, and I think this is such a good deck. I mean, even I much prefer this to the new like Coastal Crow. I do want to get the Coastal Crow, but I'm like, but I've already got this beautiful Raven's Dream deck. I just think this is stunning, and I wonder why not as many people rave about it, because it's got the crows, but it's a very, I'm not into animal decks. I don't really like working into that animal deck kind of energy, but I make the exception for this because it's got the crows, but it's also got other animals in, and I just think it's absolutely stunning. And her guidebooks are really good. It explains kind of what you need to know. They're not the biggest guidebooks, but they tell you what you need to know in reference to the not only what's in the card. I mean, that Queen of Swords, like the maze there, not only in what's in the cards, but also the divinatory meaning as well. Like, it is just such a stunning deck, and I don't understand why there are not as many people like raving about it. Maybe it's because it's a little bit bigger. I find it quite easy to shuffle, even though I like a smaller deck because hands and that, but it does shuffle really, really good. It is good quality card stock. It is harder for us UK and Europe people to get hold of it, but yeah, it just might be, you know, it's not captured, because MJ Cullinane does her decks herself and she will do print runs of them. Maybe that's the reason, because it's not a Kickstarter, or it's not kind of, you know, you can't just go out and buy it. You've got to wait. I had to wait for a print run of this to come about. And I do, you know, I've signed up for all her stuff. And the same with the Coastal Crow. At the moment, I could get the Coastal Crow, but I might lose out if I kind of wait and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just think this is a beautiful, like, look at the cute, you know, that cute little dog. Like, she's just covered. There's so much in this that it is, you know, I love doing this. I use these for my witchy readings, and it's just got such lovely energy. So yeah, this is a deck that I think is, you know, underrated. It is, you know, obviously it's an indie deck. It's not as easily available, but I just think, yeah, more people should rave about this, or maybe it be picked up for, I don't know whether MJ Cullinane wants to kind of be picked up for mass market anymore, because I don't know whether, you know, the money's in it for, you know, I don't know whether an artist benefits more from being independent than for than being picked up by mass market, because I would imagine mass market, they're not being paid as much per deck as, you know, they would be from, you know, selling it independently themselves. I don't know. But yeah, so that's the Raven's Dream Tarot by MJ Cullinane. Next prompt is a deck, which deck you feel has the strongest personality. Now, there's one of two that I could have gone, but the other one is later on in the video. So the deck that I think has got a very strong personality is my Deviant Moon. So this is Dave. Dave has very strong energy. He likes getting into the nitty gritty. Whereas I think like the Murder of the Crows tarot looks very imposing and people think, oh, it's going to be darker. It's going to be really dig in. Dave likes getting into a wound and having a dig around in it, you know. Whereas the Murder of the Crows tarot has a little bit more of a gentler shadow energy, I feel. This is like, no, this will cut deep. This will cut deep where it needs to, and it's positive where it needs to, but it will really kind of highlight the hidden depths, what's hiding under the surface. I feel like this is a very much you know, it calls you out. There's nothing to hide with this tarot deck. It will bring it out and it will tell you. And it will tell you what you need to know, even if you don't want to hear it. He's very, very loud and vocal. So yeah, this is my strongest personality deck. This is the Deviant Moon Tarot. I have called him Dave because he's Deviant Dave. I do like to alliterate my words, which has just gone awry, because now the Murder of the Crows has got a name that's got nothing to do with the M letter or the C letter, so I can't alliterate with that one. Forgive my ramblings. But yeah, I love this devil card. So cheeky, such a cheeky devil. Yeah, this cuts to the chase. It calls people out. Definitely does. What needs to be shown will be shown. So this is my Deviant Moon. This is the one with the strongest personality at the moment. Next up is a deck that you've been trying to bond with, and this deck is the Vlad Dracula Tarot. I bought this very much on a whim. So when I decide I want a tarot deck or I want an oracle deck, it spends ages on my wish list. I hesitate. I take it off the wish list, on the wish list. I watch loads of videos over and over again to see whether it's going to be a right fit in my collection, because I haven't got the brain capacity to be selling all the decks if it doesn't work. I'm gonna have to, with some of them, again, Dreamscapes was a bit of a spur of the moment purchase. The Wildwood I'd done my research on, and I think it is strong in my collection. They're the two that are kind of teetering on a thread. And again, I bought this because I was buying the Murder of Crows, and this was at a really good price. And I thought I might as well, I think it'd qualify me for free shipping if I got over that amount, and I bought it. And it is a really like lovely deck. It's not my art style, so I thought, oh, it's a bit old, it's kind of historic without being, too like historical. I'm not keen on historical decks like Tarot Hot Take. I'm not keen on the kind of oldie like Vic. I struggle with the RWS reading it, because again, the artwork is very much focusing in the medieval and everything. I'm not a keen fan on historical decks. So I was like, this scratches my Dracula itch. I can learn about, who Dracula is actually based on. And, the art style, the wood, I like the wood kind of what looks like the wood carving kind of style. But it just isn't kind of speaking my language at the moment. I have read with it. It does read well. It is quite a gory deck. So I can't kind of read with this on lives. So again, that stops me from being able to kind of have a good bond with it, because things like my Deviant Moon, most of the cards are okay, and I can read quite well on a live with it. This is got some very confronting images within it that I kind of struggle a little bit with it. So I have been trying to bond with it. I don't think I will, pass it on. I want to kind of spend some time with it. Maybe, it might be a deck of focus in like September and October or something like that, where I want to kind of spend some good time with it. I just think, obviously, because it's quite a violent deck. I'm trying to skip as many as I can quick. It's quite a violent deck that maybe it's too confronting at the moment, but it's got that old feel that I can kind of tolerate. But I think some of the images are too, and you'd have to, again, it's a guidebook thing. You'd have to read with guidebooks. So I am going to bond with it. It's just, it's taking its time. The penultimate tag is a deck that only comes out on special occasions. Now, again, this is similar to the Marvel Tarot. This is a deck that I don't read with a lot. I would only read for this probably just for myself, or for anybody who'd really appreciate the theme of this deck, because this is a little bit of me like just collecting this and going, yay, it's part of a theme I really get into, and that is the Shakespearean tarot. So I saw this on eBay, and I wanted a Shakespeare tarot. I'm a theatre nerd, or used to be a theatre nerd. I used to do, I used to act and all of that. It was my special interest. Theatre was my special interest for 20, 30, 40 years, because I went to obviously start teaching it. And well, like 30 years. So I've loved theatre for 30 odd years, or 34. And I love Shakespeare. Shakespeare was when I started acting and started going to youth theatre. Shakespeare was free to do, so that's why we did it. So, and I love, I love myself a Shakespearean comedy. Not as keen on the tragedies as the comedies. I don't really like the tragedies, but I kind of loved it, and I've always kind of loved my Shakespeare. And I saw this on eBay, and it was very reasonable, and it's I think a 1990s release, and I was like, I'm having that. I can afford it. It was cheap. Yes, the box is all bashed and everything. The cards are in really, really good condition. It's got, the box is well loved, but I don't care. I don't think I'm going to ever part with this. The book is decent, and it's in good condition. And you've got these cards, and they've got a quote on there from, so, I am but a fool, look you, two gentlemen of Verona. So it's got the play that it's from. And I got this, and I was like, ooh, it's Shakespeare. Yeah. I love me a bit of Shakespeare. But for some reason, I've just felt like I just want to have it in my collection, to have it and not kind of read with it, dig deep, everything like that. And it does feel a shame, but it just, maybe in the future I might like do a deck study on this and look and learn some more. But there are other decks that I kind of gravitate towards, and this, because it's a out of print deck, I don't want to I don't want to use it too regularly. Yeah, so you can see it's still in its order. But it is a lovely deck. I kind of don't like the white. I don't like white borders on anything. The Wildwood, I feel like the white border destroys it on the Wildwood. I don't like white borders. But yeah, and again, it's changed the name. It's crowns instead of, I think, coins. It's, yeah. So I don't use this, or it only will come out on kind of special occasions when I want to have a look at it, or I want to do a special reading for myself. That is the Shakespeare Tarot by Dolores Ashcroft Norwichry. Apologies if I've just butchered that name there. So yeah, this is unfortunately my special occasions deck. And the final question in the tag is a deck that you only use for yourself. And I have chosen my Thoth Tarot. I don't use this for others as much. I have used it for a dear friend. However, I've mixed it with another deck. So I've used another deck in conjunction with it. And I've only ever done it once. And it was a trial, because I feel like this deck, we've called him Alistair for obvious reasons. This deck is very direct and to the point. I would say he's very, very is a very, very blunt deck. And either, blunt in the negative way or the positive way. It's either like, yay, you can do it, come on, you're brilliant, or no, it's not going to work. It's very, very like straightforward. And I mixed it with another deck that has that kind of blunt energy to see if it worked, and the reading was really good. But I only use this for myself at the moment, mainly because I want to study it more. It is a deck that I do need to kind of learn a lot more with. I'm using more RWS kind of understanding of it with the cards and my intuition and my Claire ability. That's what I use when I'm reading it for myself. But I do need to. I've got the book, the Understanding the Aleister Crowley Tarot. I've got that book. It's just a matter of getting on and reading it and having a really, dedicating some time to spend with this deck. But when I picked this deck up and started shuffling it and getting to know it, and I did a deck interview, this deck clearly said, I'm only for you. You must only read for yourself with this. Now, I have bent the rules, but I'd like to think that he didn't mind being paired with another deck in order to get that reading, and that friend uses the Thoth as well. So I mainly, I only ever read for myself with this deck. I don't use it on lives. I don't do private readings with it. It's just for me. And yeah, love that death card. It's just, I think I need to get a deeper understanding of it as well, even just for me. The artwork is stunning, and I am tempted to get even though I like small cards because of my hands, I'm tempted to get a bigger version just so I can kind of see the artwork better. Because it's just a work of art. It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I do have a magnifying glass, so I can look at it with a magnifying glass. There he is. He looks like Snagglepuss. Yeah, it looks like a little cartoon dog type thing, or what was Snagglepuss? He was like some sort of panther or something. Yeah, so my Thoth deck is my deck that I only read with myself, mainly because it has got a different system to the RWS, and I've got to get my head around it. I've still not got my head around the court cards. I kind of think, I know that the knight is the king and that the princess is the page, and therefore the prince is the knight, I think, roughly, but that's very superficial. That's very, I want to dig in deeper, and I want to dig into like the astrological associations with it, the Kabbalah and everything like that. But it's just having the time to learn it all. Yeah, so this is getting tongue-tied there. This is the deck that I only use for myself, and it's my Thoth. Love that. Love that card. So thank you so much for sticking with me through this video. If you've got this far, let me know whether you're going to be picking up this tag. I will link Simon's video down below as well, so you can see his he does catch up cuppa and cards there. And yeah, let me know, have any of these questions piqued your interest? Let me know in the comments, what decks are you loving? And I will see you again next time. Bye bye, Moonbeams.